Hey, welcome back. We've made it to the final chapter of our First Principles Thinking course from the BVenture.com Academy. We have covered a ton of ground. And today, well, today's the day we bring it all home and actually put this incredible tool into practice. So the big question is, right, how do we go from just knowing about first principles thinking to actually using it in our everyday lives? That's exactly what we're going to tackle today. The goal is to make FPT a go-to tool in your problem-solving kit, something you reach for without even thinking about it. Okay, so here's our game plan for this session. We're going to kick things off with a super simple 5-step process you can use literally anywhere. Then we'll jump into some real-world examples, how this applies to your life. We'll also get real about the common hurdles that can trip people up, and then we'll wrap up by talking about how to make this a permanent, lifelong mindset. All right, let's dive right in. We've spent the last several chapters building the theoretical foundation, right? Now it's time to actually build the house. Let's get our hands dirty and put first principles thinking into practice. So just as a quick refresher, let's remember what this is all about at its core. First principles thinking, or FPT, is really just the art of questioning everything. It's about stripping away all the assumptions to find the absolute rock-bottom truths, and then building your solutions from that solid ground up. Okay, now for the really fun part. I'm going to give you a practical 5-step guide, a how-to manual, if you will, that you can use to apply FPT to pretty much any situation you can think of. And what's so cool about this is just how simple yet powerful this framework is. First, you clearly define the problem. What are you actually trying to solve? Then you break it all the way down. What are the raw materials, the absolute undeniable facts? Now, step 3 is absolutely crucial. You have to challenge your own assumptions. What do you think you know that might not actually be true? From there, from those fundamental truths, you rebuild. You construct a totally new solution. And finally, step 5, you take action. But, and this is key, you stay flexible. You're ready to adapt and iterate as you go. This isn't just some high-level concept for rocket scientists or tech billionaires. Not at all. The real power of FPT is in how you can use it every single day. So let's look at a few examples of how you can put this to work in your own life, like starting today. Let's start with something we all deal with, money. It's so easy to just download a budgeting app and follow its rules, right? But first principles thinking makes you pause and ask the real questions, like what is my actual, after-tax, take-home income? What are my absolute non-negotiable expenses? And the big one, what is a genuine need versus just a want? When you answer those basic questions, you end up building a financial plan that actually works for you, not just for some generic template. And this same idea applies perfectly to health and wellness. I mean, the world is just flooded with diet fads and workout trends, isn't it? But FPT asks you to step back and think, what does being healthy fundamentally mean for my body? What specific foods give me energy? What kind of movement do I actually, enjoy? When you strip away all that noise, you can build a sustainable lifestyle that's based on your own personal truth, not on what a social media algorithm is pushing this week. It's the exact same thing with your career. Society has this idea of a career ladder that you're supposed to climb. Well, first principles thinking gives you permission to just ignore that. Instead, you ask, what am I genuinely good at? What do I actually enjoy doing day to day? What kind of impact do I want to make in the world? Answering those questions, the fundamental ones, can open up doors to pivots and opportunities you would have never even seen before. It lets you create a path that's truly fulfilling for you. Okay, so if this way of thinking is so powerful, you might be wondering, why isn't everyone doing it all the time? Well, the truth is, there are some pretty common mental roadblocks we all run into. But the good news, you can totally learn to navigate around them. And this table here lays it out beautifully. First, there's the comfort in conformity. It just feels easier to go along with the crowd, right? The fix? Actively practice being curious. Challenge the status quo just a little bit. Then there's information overload. We're all drowning in it. The solution here is to get really good at filtering, at finding those essential, fundamental truths in all the noise. And finally, what about our own emotional biases? We all have them. The key is to use things like mindfulness and build fact-based systems that help keep us objective, relying on data, not just gut feelings. So let me turn this back to you for a second. Just take a moment and think about it. Where in your life, right now, could you apply this 5-step process? What is one assumption you're holding on to that you could challenge today that might just change everything? Because really, the ultimate goal here isn't just to use first principles thinking for a big project once in a while. It's to weave it into the very fabric of how you think. It's about making it a lifelong habit. So, how do you actually do that? Well, you start by embracing curiosity, critical thinking, and really importantly, resilience. You get into the habit of asking why, like a lot. And you make a conscious effort to surround yourself with people who challenge your thinking, not just people who agree with you all the time. And maybe most importantly, you commit to being a continuous learner. You make reading, exploring new ideas, and taking workshops a core part of who you are. And really, when you get right down to it, this is what it's all about. This quote sums it up perfectly. It's about empowerment. It's about giving yourself the tools to navigate any challenge, personal or professional, with way more clarity and a whole lot more confidence. And with that, you've done it. You've completed our entire 9-chapter course on first principles thinking. It has honestly been a pleasure guiding you through this incredible concept. And all of us here really hope you found it valuable and helpful on your journey. Hey, if you got a lot of value out of this course, could you do us a huge favor? Take a second to hit that like button for this explainer and definitely subscribe so you don't miss out on more courses just like this one. Oh, and drop a comment below to let us know what you liked most. It really does help other people discover this content. And one last thing, don't forget, we've got quizzes, notes, and even a really cool infographic for this entire course. And there's a link right in the description below. Thanks so much for learning with us.